Good afternoon, 8th grade Bobcats. Welcome back to another week at the HMS. Weeks are starting to wind down. Y'all are going to be in high school here soon. Exciting times. Last Bob lesson of your HMS career. This one is one I recorded an interview with Eva Skibicki last year at the conclusion of her freshman year. For those of you that don't know Eva, like so many of you sitting listening to this right now, just outstanding young person, leader, high achieving, high character, just a great all around young person. Reached out to her last year, wanted some advice on the do's, don'ts for some of our 8th grade Bobcats. I get tired of hearing myself talk on these things. I know any student that is a couple years older that has been there, done that, has way more credibility and has your ear way more than I do. So without being longer on this intro, wish everybody the best. I know school's not over yet. We believe in you. Gonna all do great things at the high school level. You all can do it. And here's some advice from Eva Skibicki. All right, HMS Bobcats, as I said in the intro, I have a special guest with us today, Eva Skibicki. Eva is here. Well, Eva, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Eva Skibicki. I'm a freshman at HHS, and I went to HMS all 3 years of middle school. I was in Science Olympiad, and I also did newsletter and student council, so you might know me from those things. And that's about it. So, yeah.
And I know you're kind of humble, so I got to break you up a little bit. You are one of the more accomplished students that I remember from last year, you and the fellow Polish club members. And you did some amazing stuff working fully online last year with the student leadership, and you're a student that has always given their best and gone above and beyond. And so when I thought, who's a freshman could I reach out to that maybe could help some of our current HMS Bobcats, you were the first person I thought of. So kind of on that note, give me a quick overview of how your freshman year has gone and how it's going.
So it's been going pretty well. I have absolutely thrived in like HHS athletic programs, and I found 2 sports that I just absolutely adore. And academically, I've been really successful. So it was definitely a transition at first, especially from online school, but I've loved being back in person, like absolutely loved it. And I'm really, really grateful for the many different ways I have grown both socially, athletically, and academically.
I don't know if there's anybody out there really that's not happy that we're back in person. That was a huge challenge for so many people on so many different levels. I don't even want to go down that road. But one thing that's really interesting is you mentioned that you're involved in, I know I've seen you out there with Bengalettes and you're doing softball. And can you talk real quick about the importance of being involved in something outside of just school at Helena High and how that's maybe contributed to your success?
So I would say that as a member of HHS sports, one of the things I wasn't expecting so much when I went into school is how much of a family they are. And when I went into sports, it was one of my biggest introductions, specifically preschool year, because Bangalore starts a little bit before the school year does. And then softball's obviously going on right now. But each of the sports is just a family. And it's gotten me more into both the values that the sports I feel like really uphold, where you're challenging yourself, but you're also having fun while doing it. And you meet people from different grade levels, so it kind of starts out your social circle. But it just gives you so many outlets to both do something that you love and challenge yourself and be a part of something that can better you if you want to go there for like athletics. But also you get so many of these cool high school experiences like bus trips and just hanging out with people that you might not have like chosen yourself to hang out with, but turns out that they were really cool people. So I think it just really opens up a lot of doors.
That's awesome. That sense of community and having built in social network and friendship, I think that's incredible. Just high school in general. What went as you expected it would, and what meant differently than maybe what you expected? We all have preconceived notions going into something. What went how you expected it? Maybe what went how you expected it to go when it comes to high school and freshman year?
I expected really the workload to be minimally harder, but pretty reasonable compared to what it was in 8th grade. And for the most part, I would say that's pretty accurate. With the exception of a few classes, or maybe even just one, like AP classes, are a little bit of a different world because you're kind of going from into a more college level. Your teachers are really going to ease you into their material. And they're really flexible and understanding about the transition for the most part. So if you really need it, ask for help and ask for an extension because they're willing to give it to you. But I would say it's pretty reasonable overall. And if you actively try to keep up with the work at HMS, and are pretty successful, you will do just fine at Helen High. And even if you struggle a little bit right now, specifically the freshman staff is really helpful and accommodating. So if there's a time that you need extra help or an extension, as I mentioned before, just ask. Communication fixes so much.
Awesome. Is there what didn't go as expected? Maybe was different than what you thought it would be.
So the two things that I think didn't go quite as expected. They're pretty different, but they're both pretty relevant. So firstly, if you are looking into athletics, as I mentioned before, I wasn't expecting how much the teams felt like family. I've done club sports, I've done travel, I've done dance for I think this is my 12th or 13th year. For a very long time, and I felt so welcomed by the just variety of people that were there. And again, you get challenged and you get to do fun things together. But secondly, AP classes are much different than your other classes. And while this will totally vary depending on the teacher, if you're planning on going into AP, I just don't want you to think that it's going to be the same as all the other ones. It's not. You're going to have to do a little bit more individually. That is not to say that it isn't doable, but I was a little bit honestly kind of stressed out in our first unit of AP Human Geo. I figured it out. I'm doing great. My AP test is May 5th, so pray for me. But I think I'm doing pretty good.
Awesome. Speaking kind of on the challenge, what has been the biggest challenge you've encountered this year as a high school student, and maybe how have you overcome that challenge?
I would say it would be simply just trying to balance everything I have going on. So I play two high school sports, and I do dance outside of school while also taking pretty much the hardest classes you can as a freshman. And unfortunately, I did not choose to do study hall this year. But I absolutely love the sports I do and enjoy how much I get out of my challenging classes. However, being a high achiever is absolutely not a bad thing. But sports in school are hugely important parts of my life that I don't want to give up, but I still also need other hugely important parts of my life, like sleep and making sure that I can give what I need to those sports. So if you want to take hard classes or play 17 sports, or if you want to take one or two hard classes and play one sport, just make sure that you're managing your time in a way that it's realistic around what you get done in the day. Because it's not bragging rights to get less sleep or shove so many things into a day where you don't really get the chance to relax. It takes away from the experience. So though those things might be a huge part of your life, your personality and your vibrance and what you can give to those activities is always going to be more important than those activities. So if you ever need to take a step back or reassess managing your time, just make sure you can communicate with your coaches and teachers or fit in study halls and relaxation time because those are super important too.
Yeah, for sure. You can't burn out. I think, especially I think of students like you that are super high achieving. And some of the kids that want to take all the honors in the AP, it really becomes about finding that balance and not burning yourself out at both ends. And, like I say, as you get older, life does not become any less busy, right? So you have to develop your values and you have to develop that time management. And sometimes some things have to give, and that's okay. What has been the thing you've enjoyed most about being a high school student? I know you've talked about the family and the community of the sports, and the teachers that really care. Is there anything else that's been what you've enjoyed the most?
So loved the interaction between different grade levels because you have classes with sophomores and juniors and depending on what you take. There's more freedom at lunchtime and when you're doing things that are outside of the school. You can go off campus. It kind of opens up a lot of opportunities, and that also ties in extracurriculars. And there's just I would say those are the main two things. It's just the extra freedom and the interaction, the amount, just the different ways that you can experience things that you might not be able to do as easily in school.
For sure. That extra freedom comes with extra responsibility. as well. So that's something I'd like to remind our students. So finally, and thank you for this has been really informative, I hope, for our kids. Any final advice you would have for our 8th grade students who will be in your shoes, not literally, but figuratively, as freshmen here in a couple months?
I mean, my shoes are pretty great. They're combat. They're pretty nice.
What do you got on today?
Combat boots.
Oh, there you go.
So just I think 4 quick main things. First of all, the school's going to feel a little bit like a maze at first. It's honestly pretty unorganized architecturally from an easy to understand standpoint, so it's pretty confusing. That's totally normal. I would say.
Speaking from the daughter of an architect, isn't your mom an architect?
She's an engineer, but similar.
Anyways, sorry to cut you off.
You're good. So if you can, a couple days before you get your schedule, I'd really recommend walking through it. Or like if you don't get the chance to do that, just keep tabs on people that are going to the same places as you, because everybody's in the same boat, and you might know how to get to English better, but your friend might know how to get to science better. So just work with people and ask for help from teachers. I know talking to people is hard, but teachers are usually really nice about it. Second of all, your mental health is more important than an assignment, sport, peer pressure, extracurricular activity. So if you're really struggling in a class or in a sport to the point where it's damaging for you or like dimming your light a little bit, make sure to get some help. Take a step back, ask for assistance. So whether that be an extension or a day off of practice, because you may be exhausted or going through something, communication solves so much when it comes to coaches and teachers. So really make sure that you're advocating for yourself and what you need, because most people are really willing to be flexible with it. Third, your mistakes are not going to cause the ceiling to cave in. I promise you. If the ceiling caves in, it's just because the school's old, a little bit degraded, and there's some holes in the walls that they add character. The silverfish are your friends.
That's awesome.
But so just remember that your mistakes are such a small part of every day. Take it one thing at a time. You're going to be okay. And then to end on a much lighter note, please don't get hit by the bathroom doors. It happens to the best of us, but they open outwardly. And I've been on both the getting hit end and the doing the hitting end because of how vicious these doors are. So when you're walking through the hallways, if you see a bathroom door, just give it some clearance and you'll be okay.
That is awesome. Eva, you're incredible. I think that this is going to be really informative for so many of our kids, and as always, it's great to see you just thriving and doing your thing. And will you tell the rest of the Polish Club, Mr. Flex, what's up? And I hope they're doing equally well. I'm sure they are. Can't wait to see you out doing Bangalettes next year again. Have a great rest of your year.
You too. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being on with us. All right, let's give away some jelly beans, shall we? This week's winners: Cash Neal, Eleanor Peterson, Robin Hollow, Sam Helvig, Ava Kelly, Olivia Barnard. The answer was R. I think it was asking for something happens this many times in this. It was the letter R right there in front of us. All right, this week's jelly bean question of the week. Last one of the year. I make 2 people out of 1. What am I? If you think you know the answer, submit your answer to the Bob box. Get that thing turned in by the end of the week. And then let's see, how am I going to do that? Stop by randomly following week and let's see if you're a winner. I suspect if you have the right answer, I might just reward jelly beans to everybody. All right, Bobcats, let's make it a great week at the Helena Middle School.